Hey guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. I'm Taylor and I have celiac disease, and today I am making my famous gluten-free Copycat Buffalo Wild Wings boneless wings. Now this is one of my favorite recipes. My entire family loves it, and anytime I make it for anybody, they ask for the recipe. So since I'm making them today for a party, I thought I would show you guys how to make them too, in case you are newly gluten-free or newly diagnosed celiac, so that you know you can make good, yummy food too. Plus it's super easy and it's quick. So this is something we make often for get-togethers or just for our family dinners. It's honestly, my son calls it his favorite chicken because it's that good. You can't even tell it's gluten-free. First, you need to start off by getting chicken. I like to buy the tenderloin packs from Walmart. They're just like the skinny tenderloins. Today I'm using 4 packs and we cut them into small pieces. My husband's so nice, he actually did that last night so that I don't have to do it today, it's already ready to go. But I like mine more popcorn chicken size, but you can cut them into whatever size you want. And then today, I'm using 2 cups of milk. You can use whatever milk you want, this is 2%. I warmed it up for about 30 seconds just to take that chill off, because otherwise, it's gonna hurt my hands. But you don't want it too warm because you have to mix egg in and you don't want it to cook your egg. So normally for a smaller batch, like if you're just doing like 2 or 3 packs of chicken, you can just use 1 cup of milk and 1 egg. But today, since I'm doing 4 cups of chicken, did I say I was doing 7? I'm not doing 7, I'm doing 4. I'm doing 4 packs of chicken. So I'm just gonna do 2 cups of milk. Now the breading, I'm gonna tell you the recipe for 1 batch, but you always wanna make extra. Since I'm doing 4 packs of chicken, I'm going to make 7 batches of the breading. I know that sounds a lot. I know flour is gluten-free, but I promise this is so good. You will not use all of it, but sometimes if you don't make extra, the breading just gets way too wet and it doesn't, the chicken just doesn't turn out right. So I'm doing mine in 2 separate bowls this time, just so that once my breading starts to get wet, I can add some of the dry in. But you don't have to do that. You can put all of your breading into 1 bowl. That's normally what I do, but today I just felt like doing it into separate bowls would be easier. And then for the recipe, it's 1 cup of flour. I am using the Measure for Measure King Arthur flour, the gluten-free flour. That's usually what I always use. It's 1 cup of flour. Let me pull up my phone just so I'm not saying it wrong. I literally know it by heart, but I want to read it so that I don't say it wrong. 1 cup of flour, 2 tablespoons. Pause. I'm putting this recipe down in the caption so that you guys can see it. It's not 2 tablespoons, it's 2 teaspoons of salt. 1 cup of flour, 2 teaspoons of salt. Half a teaspoon of ground black pepper, half a teaspoon of cayenne pepper, half a teaspoon of paprika, 1/4 teaspoon of garlic powder, and then your milk, your eggs, your chicken, your oil to fry it in because you do have to deep fry these, and then your sauces, and we are using our favorite Buffalo Wild Wings sauce. Now, I do have celiac, and I'm one of those girlies that if it doesn't have gluten ingredients, I'm gonna eat it. So don't come for me. You do what you gotta do. You use your favorite sauce. These are not certified gluten-free, I don't believe, but we always eat them and we have no problems. They say online that they're gluten-free. So we can go ahead and start our batter. I think I have, I was gonna say, I think I have a bag of open flour somewhere. Like I said, I'm using 4 packs of chicken, so I'm going to make 7 batches. I'll probably just do 4 in one and 3 in another. Honestly, I'm just going to open this new bag and pour the little bit of flour from that other bag into this one. So one thing I miss being gluten-free is fried food. So one of the first things I invested in, which it's not even, they don't cost that much money. I think I got one for like 60 bucks at Kohl, is one of the little deep fryers for inside for like your countertop. And that thing is the best. Like deep frying a bag of fries, so good. It changes the game. And as you know, if you're gluten-free or you have celiac, you just don't get fried food that often, at least not around here in rural Ohio. So I make my own when I can't get something out of a restaurant. And that fryer was one of the best things we invested in. Okay, so we're starting with flour. And I kind of just do rough measurements. Nothing has to be exact. So here's 4 cups in that one, and then we're gonna do 3 in this one. I know flour is super expensive. Chicken can be expensive. This isn't the cheapest thing to make, but it is good. And to me, it's totally worth it. I will pay to eat good food because if you're gluten-free, you know, it's hard to find good food. So this is practically an entire bag of flour for 4 packs of chicken. Now, 4 packs of chicken makes a lot. My family can honestly, my family 5, we could eat one and we eat a lot of chicken. So there's the 7 cups of flour. We're gonna do 2 times 7. So we're gonna do 14 teaspoons of salt. Only this one gets, this is a teaspoon, right? This one gets 8. 1, 2, half a teaspoon of ground black pepper. So this batch will get 2 full teaspoons. And then half a teaspoon of cayenne. So this one will get 2 teaspoons and the other one will get 1.5. Okay, so paprika is the same thing. And the garlic calls for less, but I love me some garlic. So sometimes I put an extra garlic powder. Did I get that out? Yes, I did. Like I said, it's 1/4 a teaspoon. So this batch will get 1 whole teaspoon. And this one will get 3/4 of a teaspoon, but I just kind of eyeball it. It's a little extra garlicky. That's fine with me. This makes me want to sneeze. Okay, so now this is where we use our whisk to whisk, mix this all up. I don't know where my flat whisk is because I have a flat whisk and that's honestly my favorite to use, but I don't know where it is because otherwise this kind of gets stuck in here. My 4-year-old is behind the camera and my other kids are going in and out, so we're just vibing with the chaoticness per usual. So if you hear them, see them, feel them knock the camera, it's because they're around. You could even make these up and freeze them and just keep them in the freezer so that you have some ready. We always plan to do that, but then we always end up eating them, so it never lasts long. So now that the flour is all mixed up, we are gonna crack our eggs into our milk. Hopefully it's not too cold because that literally hurts my hands. So like I said, I'm using 2 cups of milk and 2 eggs for this batch. One thing I didn't mention is that you do have to freeze these for at least 20 minutes before you deep fry them. So I always get pans out and line them with parchment paper to set my chicken on when we're done breading it so that I can slide them into the freezer. Now our egg and milk is whisked together. My pans are ready. I have my chicken out. So I always put my chicken over by my milk. Normally I use a bigger milk container than this, but we have it in the fridge with food in it. So now I actually try to do a lot at one time. You want to keep a wet hand and a dry hand. So my left hand's gonna be my wet hand. I'm just gonna grab a bunch of chicken, and my husband cut this perfectly. There's no gross pieces, it's small. This is exactly how I like it. So I'm actually taking quite a bit, putting it into the milk mixture. I think I can put a little bit more. Getting it all nice and wet. Using your wet hand still, you're gonna take it out, try to get a little bit of the milk off and then just drop it in. Doesn't have to be perfect. Drop it in. And this is why the mixture can also just get too wet. And especially if you're in a hurry like me, sometimes I don't want to take the time. And I'm just flopping stuff back and forth. So I always just use extra flour and extra breading. Once all that chicken out of the milk is into the flour, you're going to use your dry hand. Make sure you're not touching the chicken because otherwise the wetness is going to stick to your dry hand and you don't want that. Take the flour and kind of scoop it onto the chicken so that the chicken gets coated before it's actually like touching your hand. So once the chicken is all mixed around and you're getting it nice and coated, make sure every piece is nice and coated and there's no like clumps. We're gonna put it back into the milk mixture, and you're gonna do that every time with the chicken, and then you're gonna put it back into the flour. So each little section of chicken that we're battering is gonna get battered twice. And once you're done with that, you can go ahead and put it on your pan. Now I'm putting my chicken back into my milk mixture. So sometimes I kind of try to shake a little bit of the flour off too. Sometimes you may end up needing more milk, but that's okay. You can always just pour more milk in. Sometimes I'll add a little bit more milk and don't add extra egg. It's really not that serious. I'm digging through my flour just to make sure I have all the little pieces of chicken out. Sometimes they can hide out in there. Now I'm using my wet hand. I'm gonna push this down to make sure all of them are covered. All the flour is wet again, and then same thing, using your wet hand, you're just gonna drop it back in. This is where it can get a little bit clumpier, and you're gonna make sure when you're coating it with flour to really break up the pieces that are sticking together. Sometimes halfway through, I'll throw some flour on top just so I have room to move my hand without it getting all wet. Like I said, I like to do as much chicken at once as possible, just so I can get it done. This is a lot. This is a lot, this first batch. Usually I use a bigger bowl, but I split it into two this time because normally I use that black bowl that the chicken's in, but all the chicken's in it, so we're making do with what we have. All right. Coat these all really well. Make sure they're not sticking together. Break them up. Once your chicken is really well coated twice, this is when you're gonna take it and set it on your pan. And you're just gonna do this with all of the chicken that you have. Now that my chicken's all battered and on my tray, I'm gonna go ahead and stick it in the freezer for at least 20 minutes. Ours will probably be in it longer because we're not frying it up till later, but today I'm gonna use honey barbecue and spicy garlic, and then I'm gonna leave a batch plain to take to the party. But I also love Bdubs garlic parmesan sauce. But I always leave some plain because that's how my kids like it and that's how other people's kids like it. So when we go to parties, I get out my big 3 crock pot thing to take, and I usually do 2 sauced and 1 plain, so that's what we're gonna do today. Because a lot of people like the spicy garlic, and you can't go wrong with honey barbecue. So that's what we're doing today. So this is my little frying setup. I have my deep fryer and my oil. I heat it up to 350. Then you just throw as many chicken chunks in at one time as you can. And then they get really crispy like this, if you can see that. That's fresh out of the fryer. Once they reach 160 inside, then they're done. And then this is my crock pot setup that I have for the party today. And that's what they look like, all sauced up. So good. I'm gonna go ahead and put the full recipe in the caption. So let me know if you try it because this is legitimately probably my favorite gluten-free recipe.